Hi everyone, and welcome to the Watcher of Watches YouTube channel, where I will be sharing my passion for watches, buying and owning experiences of timepieces that I have collected over the last few years. If you like my videos, please drop me a comment below, hit the subscribe button turning on the notifications, and follow me on Instagram. In today's video, I'll be going through my current watch collection as of September 2020. But before I go through that, I want to take a minute and talk about watch boxes. So originally I had one with 8 slots, and it was nicely finished in mahogany wood and the cushions were well made. But the problem that I had was that they were quite large, and my wrist size in 6 3/4 inches, my watches had to be adjusted just to be able to fit onto the cushions. So at that point, I went on a hunt for another watch box. I came across Bourbon and Zorwig, and they made really nice watch boxes, and the one that I was looking at was in 10 pieces and it was known as a Vantage box. The only problem was it was retailing at over $1,500. So I eventually decided on a Rapport London Brompton watch box, which is what you see in front of you now. Still not cheap at just over $700, but this version came in either black or dark brown, and I purchased the dark brown. The outside is made of calf leather, but it has an alligator print. And the inside is made of suede. And the cushions allow for you to have either a small or large wrist size watches on there, which is quite a good feature. The only issue I found was the cushions did not fit perfectly in the compartments, so they do move around a little bit, which is disappointing. So Rapport London, if you ever come across this video, please improve on that. Aside from that, it's a really nicely finished watch box, including solid hinges and the branding on the inside. So here you go guys, the current collection. Now I don't have a bottomless pit of cash, so each watch here has been carefully considered before I pulled the trigger. I think only one of these watches in my collection did I buy spontaneously, where I had just gone to a boutique during a business trip and walked out with a watch. Apart from that, I would look at every aspect before buying a watch, like the brand, the movement, which has to be in-house, where and when I would wear the watch and does it fit into my lifestyle, the design of the dial, and last but not least, the price. So what I'll do in this video is I'll go through each watch one by one and just talk through why I ended up purchasing this watch. Now I'll go in ascending order of value, starting with this Seiko 5 Sports, reference number SNZG17J1, and the J represents made in Japan. You do get some made in Malaysia, but this one is made in Japan, and I'd specifically asked for that. But for this watch, I had a specific set of parameters when I was looking for a watch in this range. It had to be less than $500, it had to be a mechanical movement, and it had to have a minimum of 100 meters water resistant rating. And I had looked at this, and also a watch from Hamilton and Victorinox, but this ticked all of the boxes. Actually, this watch gets around about 40 to 50% of my wrist time. I take it swimming or to the beach, whenever I'm with my kids, or even if I just want to keep it a little bit low key. I don't really want to say that this is my beta watch, I think that's quite unfair, but what I will say is this is my all-purpose watch. It has a day-date function, has a really good lume, the watch is accurate, and it comes in 42mm in diameter. And this is serious value for money. I purchased this for $175 back in March 2019. And it's natural when you have a Seiko that you start looking at grandseiko. And the more you look into the brand, the more you appreciate what they are doing. This is one of my dress watches. It's small at 37.3mm and has this magnificent Zaratsu polishing on the case. I actually call this a baby Calatrava with its clean dial, and I love how it has no date. The dial colour is actually a matte ivory finish, and the hands and indices are perfectly finished. In fact, it's a kind of watch that you want to loop. Now I've actually taken a macro shot here, and you can see the finishing is absolutely flawless, and the indices have 8 separate sides to them, and they are absolutely perfect. Now the reference number of this watch is SBGW231, and it actually took me around about 3 months on order to get this watch. It cost me $3,500, and I purchased this in April 2020. It was actually whilst we were in complete lockdown, so I wasn't able to go out and buy this watch, but I had to have it delivered to where I live. Now we get into the Swiss watchmakers. And originally, when I was looking at the Jaeger-LeCoultre brand, I was looking at the Master Collection. But the Reverso has a unique charm and history to it, and it's the first watch you think of when you look at the brand. The model reference of this watch is Q2718410, and it's in stainless steel. Now, this is actually known as a Grand Talia, which sits in between the medium and large sizes. This particular reference has actually been discontinued, but what I really like about this watch is the guilloche pattern and the second subdial, which is actually in circle. And if you have a look at more of the newer watches from the Reverso range, they're actually in square, so this is quite a subtle finish. Another thing that I love about this watch is this one is actually a duo face. So it has a second time zone in black on the other side. And it actually also has a 24-hour indicator. So it's 2 watches in one. And just look at that perlage pattern. I believe that these cases have around about 50 parts to them alone. Now this watch was $7,700, and I purchased this in March 2019. Next, we go on to what I consider as my go-to watch. And if I'm never sure on what I want to wear at some point, this is a watch I end up choosing. And it's actually the earliest watch in my collection. So this is the IWC reference IW500703. I find this watch really versatile, so I can wear this with a suit in a corporate setting, or even with a pair of jeans on the weekend. And what I really like about this watch is the matte black dial. Black with black leather strap just goes with everything. It has 7 days power reserve, so that functionality is really handy. And it's quite large at 42.3 millimeters, but I think the dimensions work really well on the watch. I've done a full review of this watch on my channel, so please do take a look. But this watch cost me $13,000, and I picked this back up in March 2017. Next, we come to the Hublot Classic Fusion 8-day Power Reserve Titanium. Now this is what I regard as my weekend only watch. Now, I would love to have a Patek Philippe Nautilus reference 5712. I think that's my absolute grail watch. Unfortunately, the price is completely prohibitive, even at retail for me. Another one is obviously the AP Royal Oak. I absolutely love that watch. Now, the bracelet on that watch, although I think it's the best in the business, it unfortunately catches all of the hair on my wrist. So therefore I went with this Hublot. That's actually really comfortable. So the Classic Fusion is a more subtle range of the Hublot family. This watch is quite large at 45 millimeters, but it has an in-house movement and its manual wind, so quite thin. So it's only 10 millimeters high. So that makes the dimensions work. Now I've done a full review of this watch also on my channel, so please do take a look. This watch is actually also discontinued, so I was quite glad that when I picked it up. This watch cost me $10,600, and I purchased it from an independent dealer in Dubai, and I bought this in January 2019. When I got into watch collecting, I was adamant that I wouldn't buy a Rolex, only because I thought everyone has one. But you realise that they make exceptional timepieces. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I was looking at a Sky Dweller with a blue face, or this, the the GMT Master 2 reference 126710 BLRO, or better known as the Pepsi. As I'm sure you're aware, both of these watches have a huge waiting list, and I actually have my name down for both of them, and I've had them down for about 2 years. But I couldn't hold out any longer, and I ended up purchasing this watch again from an independent dealer in Dubai. I believe this is a Mark II or a Mark III bezel. It's definitely not a Mark I, as I've seen that in the flesh, and I wasn't a fan of the pastel blue and red. This version is far richer and deeper in colour, and with that Jubilee bracelet, which I think is absolutely amazing, this makes it a perfect Rolex, and I can see why it's so sought after. Now, the retail price of this watch is approximately $11,000, and as I wasn't able to get it on retail, I did pay an approximate 50% premium on top to purchase this watch, and I got this in June 2020. And even though I've paid a premium for it, it did hurt, but I'm actually really glad I got the watch. And finally, to my most recent purchase, the Zenith El Primero A386 Revival. Now, I've done a full buying video and a review of this watch on my channel, so do take a look. But this watch ticks so many boxes for me. It's my only precious metal watch, it's my only chronograph in my collection, the brand has unique history, it's a legendary movement, and this watch comes with 50 years service and warranty, and it's also limited to 50 pieces, so you can see there's so much to this watch. And I've said in my review, and I'll say it again, just look at that dial. The detail, the finishing, the colours, the design, it's just amazing, and I think it really works with the rose gold. Now, this watch I purchased in August 2020, so only a month ago, and it retails at $19,200. So there you go, guys, 3 years of watch collecting. Do let me know what you think by leaving me a comment of either your opinion or if you have any questions on the collections. But I'll actually leave you a question. If I could only keep 3, what do you think they would be? Now, I do have a few more watches that I have in mind for the future, so let's see how the collection looks in about 18 months. But till the next video, please stay safe, and thank you for watching.